Hi, Movie Recap Brothers here. Today, I will show you an adventure and drama film called Togo. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and take care. Seppala drives his sled dog team while shouting commands to his lead dog Togo. They get past the caribou herd, which could be a distraction. As he runs by, Togo gives them a quick glance. Seppala quietly says, "Good dog," when they continue without incident. He congratulates the team, saying, "Well done everyone, there'll be full bellies and warm beds tonight." Dan Murphy approaches Seppala as they return to Nome. Dan informs him that there has been a diphtheria outbreak for more than a week. Seppala continues on to the meeting of town officials. Curtis Welch, a doctor, informs the community about the highly contagious epidemic and its consequences. Mayor George Maynard suggests flying the vaccine to them. Seppala warns the group that the approaching storm will be severe, and that the rapidly falling barometer is cause for concern. He goes on to say that Togo had earlier ignored the caribou herd and continued running. Togo is known for chasing caribou and has never run directly past them in 12 years. Seppala explains that when an animal denies his nature and flees to the barn because he is afraid of the storm, man should also be afraid of the storm. After the meeting, Dr. Welch joins Seppala and Togo and requests a ride to the hospital. When they arrive, Seppala looks through the windows to see a bunch of kids sick. As he waxes his sled runners, he rethinks about what he just saw. Constance asks if he is willing to risk his life to collect the vaccine. When he says he should, she says she is afraid he will run Togo down and kill him. Constance later begs him to take Fritz as the lead dog instead, as Togo is 12 years old. He explains that without Togo, he is unlikely to survive the round trip to Nanana and back. The mayor arrives and confirms that due to the severity of the storm, air delivery is impossible. Seppala sits in front of the fire with Togo and asks if he has one more race in him. Constance hides her worries as she bids Seppala farewell the next morning. She kneels in front of Togo, pleading with him to safely return Seppala and himself to her. As the team begins their harrowing race of mercy, members of the community line the street in support. Togo takes the lead as Seppala surveys the skies and declares, "Here it comes." They run straight into the storm. In a flashback 12 years earlier, Constance tenderly watches over the sickly newborn pup. She inquires of Seppala how much it will cost him to give this life a chance. When he asks what this puppy brings to the breed, she replies, "The heart of a survivor." Togo grows stronger and more mischievous, which irritates Seppala, who regards him as a canine delinquent. He makes the decision to give Togo away. Constance looks on, sad, as Victor Anderson arrives to pick him up. Victor later returns Togo to them, saying he's more trouble than he's worth. Back in the present, the sled dogs race down the mountainside in the midst of a snowstorm. Togo comes to a halt as his exceptional sense of danger saves them all from plummeting straight down a sheer drop. Despite Seppala's efforts to break and jump off the sled, it continues down the slope, dragging him along with it. They come to a halt for a fraction of a second before falling over the edge. He orders Togo to pull, which he does, and successfully turns the team around. Finally, the dogs drag the sled back up the mountainside. Seppala exclaims, "Good dogs all." The tired team arrives and meets Amatuk at the roadhouse, where they will spend the night. Togo watches intently as Seppala reinforces the kennels in a flashback from 12 years ago. He informs Togo that he is difficult and untrainable, and that Constance has been too gentle with him. As Seppala gathers the sled for their training run, the dogs bark and howl in anticipation. Togo searches for a way out as they leave. As the other pups watch, he digs repeatedly and unsuccessfully along the fence line. He triumphantly emerges on the other side of the fence after finally finding a path unobstructed by stone. Togo runs with purpose, determined to become a member of the team. He finally notices them and begins barking and behaving erratically as they come to a halt. His gaze is drawn to the nearby caribou herd. "Oh no," Seppala says, "easy now," and tells him to leave it. Togo disobeys and runs towards them, accompanied by the team. As he pursues them, the herd flees to the river. Seppala is thrown into the icy water when the sled overturns on the rough terrain. He comes out and stares at this tenaciously disobedient pup who is overjoyed to be with him. Back at home, Seppala angrily informs Constance that her dog violates the pack rules and upsets the hierarchy he has worked so hard to establish. He takes Togo out of the kennels and confines him to the tack room. Togo takes stock of his new surroundings. He raises his head and plans his escape. He makes his way to the roof after negotiating his way through a cupboard. Constance is awakened by the sound of breaking glass as Togo continues his escape attempt. He appears on the roof, then jumps down onto the hay wagon and runs to join the team. Seppala informs Amatuk back at the roadhouse that he plans to take the perilous shortcut across Norton Sound, which is still frozen. This will save him a day's travel time. He assures him that they will succeed because he has done so before. Seppala issues the command to the sled dogs to begin the perilous journey across the ice. Togo bravely leads the way as they race across the treacherous fractured ice scape. Seppala encourages each tenacious dog by name, telling them that they will be rewarded. They'll be remembered for their bravery. He refers to them as a band of champions as he urges them to run as they navigate the cracking ice around them. Back in Nome, Mayor Maynard writes a brief press release for the Associated Press, which he gives to his assistant Max. His article has made front-page news across the country. The severe weather conditions of nearly 60 degrees below zero, with winds reaching 50 miles per hour, captivates the nation's attention. Seppala and the dogs arrive at the next roadhouse to rest for the night. He tells Tulimak, regretfully, that he tried to give Togo away and recalls the incident. Seppala travels with Constance to rehome Togo in the flashback. He claims that she considers the puppy to be spirited and lovable. As a breeder, all he sees is trouble, a waste of time, and failure. Togo seeks an escape route as soon as they abandon him with his new owner. He notices a large window and leaps through it. Seppala is on a training run with the team when he notices him barking. Togo dashes over to join them, and after upsetting the team, he takes the lead dog position. Seppala takes him out and puts him in the last row, next to Elsa. He is unafraid when she growls and snarls at him and licks her face. Seppala switches the dog's position several times as they make their way home. Constance beams with pride as she sees them return home with Togo as the lead dog. Seppala is overjoyed when she learns that Togo is a lead dog, not a sled dog. He admits she was correct, saying he has the heart of a survivor. He finally names him Togo after previously only referring to him as Pup. Back in Nome, Mayor Maynard and Linda Berg inform Constance that the governor has set up relay teams to collect the vaccine. Seppala resumes his journey the next morning, unaware of the new arrangements made after he had already left. Without stopping, he passes Henry Ivanov, a member of the relay team. Henry is alerted by his dogs, and he rushes after Seppala, shouting that he has the serum. Seppala returns on foot, just as he is about to give up hope. While they rest for the night, Henry tells him about the difficulties the less experienced teams have encountered in each of the relay's 31-mile legs. Seppala departs with the serum the next morning, having thanked Henry for his friendship and hospitality. They are preparing to attempt the high-risk crossing of Norton Sound on their way back to Nome. Seppala shouts praise and encouragement as Togo leads the team across the rapidly cracking ice. In a flashback, the team competes in the All-Alaska Sweepstakes 10 years ago. They race past Scotty Allen, regarded as the greatest musher of all time. Seppala beams as they cross the finish line first, defying all odds and winning £5,000. Constance kneels proudly before Togo, saying "Good boy" as the audience applauds. Togo comes to a halt at the edge of an ice floe as they continue their perilous journey back to Nome. Seppala consults his compass and instructs the dogs to bear left. They slip as they run across the melting ice, causing the resulting floes to move quickly and unevenly. As they near the other side, Seppala shouts encouragement. As the ice floe moves further away, the team comes to a halt, leaving a rapidly growing gap between them and the land. He drives a stake into the ice to secure the sled and unclips Togo from his harness. He throws Togo forward over the water onto the snow-covered bank after pleading with him to forgive him. As Togo strains to bring the ice floe closer to land, he lets go of the rope. Seppala pushes the sled behind the dogs as they run forward. As Seppala slips and loses his grip, the team leaps to safety. He dashes across the field and lands on a snowbank. Togo approaches him. When they come to a halt for the night, Amatuk assists with the serum while Togo rests. Constance returns to Nome and meets with Gunnar Kaasen, who is preparing to leave to collect the serum. She suggests using Fox and Balto as the lead dogs and goes to get the dogs harnessed for the journey. Before leaving, Amatuk remarks that all of the ice on Norton Sound has melted, implying that Seppala escaped death on the crossing the day before. On the way back, Seppala requests that Togo transport them all to Joe Dexter's roadhouse because he cannot see ahead due to the thick snowstorm. He awakens hunched over his sled. Togo is completely still after using his exceptional ability to find his way through the fierce storm. Seppala warns him that if he stops, he will die, not realizing that Togo has led them to the roadhouse before collapsing. Joe Dexter and Charlie Olson arrive to greet them and retrieve the serum from the sled. Seppala gently carries Togo inside after telling him he is magnificent. Charlie carefully packs the serum and departs on the relay's penultimate leg. He gives the serum to Gunnar Carson, whose sled dogs then make their way to Nome through the terrible storm. When Gunnar arrives, he hands the serum to Dr. Welch, who dashes out the door to meet him. A reporter approaches him as he pats his dogs and inquires about his and the lead dog's names. They photograph Balto and dub him the champion savior of Nome. Dr. Welch smiles as the children recover in the hospital. Seppala expresses gratitude to Joe Dexter for his kindness to them all during their recuperation. He walks home in front of his brave team, alongside Togo. Constance quietly joins Seppala as they keep an eye on Togo, who is recovering on their bed. The mayor and the community pay a visit the next morning, bringing gifts of gratitude and celebrating Togo's success. Despite his injured paw, Togo refuses to stay at home and flees, running to join the team. Seppala recalls the puppy running joyfully towards him as Togo runs into his open arms. Constance observes their incredible bond from a safe distance. He claims that he always assumed Togo lived for the sled, when in fact, he lived for Seppala all along. They discovered that walking together was just as good as running. Togo spent his golden years working as a father and siring puppies for 2 years. While Balto was hailed as the Mercy Run's hero, mushers from all over the world competed for one of Togo's pups, known as Seppala's Siberians. They were a breed that was admired for their intelligence, stamina, and courage, but most of all for their good nature and unusual bond with humans. Togo abandoned them on a December Thursday. Although the movie ends with Togo living out his final years with Seppala, in real life, Seppala continued to travel between Alaska and Maine. Ultimately, he made the decision to leave Togo behind with a fellow dog musher, concerned that the journey would be too much for the retired dog. In Togo's final days, Seppala decided to put Togo to sleep, given his joint pain and partial blindness. Seppala ended up living to be 89, where he notes this final time on Earth has been smooth and look forward to reuniting with his friends in Togo. Let us know what you thought about the movie in the comments below. Leave a like if you like this video, it really helps channels like ours out. Thanks again for watching and see you again soon.